of recovery, appreciating from 14.15 CD to approximately 13.14 per dollar as at May 2025, May 9, 2025. This incident undermines efforts to stabilize our economy. The casual distribution of foreign currency by a high-ranking official sends a message of indifference to the struggle of ordinary Ghanaians. And what has the government has to say? Absolutely nothing. So far, there's a definite silence. There has been silence from the presidency, no reprimand from the Minister of Finance, and no action from the Office of the President or the National Security Secretariat. We are just recently learning and reading that the National Security has been asked to search the home of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. If that is true, at least it's one step we will have to comment, but that it doesn't end there. It appears this act has, it appears the action of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi has a quiet blessing of the regime that has long abandoned people's interests for personal gains. As a minority, we owe it to the people of Ghana to bring to the fore these matters and this unfortunate development for that matter. Ladies and gentlemen, it is ridiculous to suggest that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi did no wrong with the opulence and naked betrayal of public mandate. Absolutely. For anyone to suggest that Sammy Gyamfi did nothing wrong is actually playing with the truth or doesn't understand the monetary and financial laws governing this country, especially when it has to do with the payment and receipt of same when dealing with currency that is not a legal tender for Ghana. The president recently launched the Code of Conduct for appointees, which requires them to place the national interest above personal interest, eschew opulence, and be accountable for the use of public funds, among others. Sammy Gyamfi has reaped this requirement of him by the president. God has a way of testing the integrity and faith of men. The integrity and faith of the president, GHOne Mahama, on or in his own rules have been put to the test. It is a watershed moment for him to keep true to his words. Ladies and gentlemen, aside from the Code of Conduct for appointees, other financial and monetary laws have been challenged by the actions of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. The Foreign Exchange Act 2006 Act 273 prescribes under Section 3, Clause 1 and 4, a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under this act. In other words, the Foreign Exchange Act has prescribed anyone doing business with the United States dollar or any foreign currency without approval or license so granted under the act. The business of dealing in foreign exchange includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency. The Bank of Ghana has constantly reminded us through various notices that pricing, advertising, receipting, or making payment for goods and services in foreign currency without authorization from the Bank of Ghana is illegal. The penalties for such violation includes a fine of up to 700 penalty units or a prison term of not more than 18 months or both. In other words, this is the prescribed penalty for anyone doing businesses with currency in Ghana or foreign currency without authorization from the Bank of Ghana. And from our checks, Mr. Gyamfi has not got authorization from the Bank of Ghana to do business with foreign currency. And it is clearly a violation of the Foreign Exchange Act, which has been passed to, this is a law governing the circulation and transaction with foreign currencies. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ghana cedi or the Ghanaian cedi is the only sole legal tender in Ghana. And for emphasis, let us repeat this. The Ghana cedi is the sole legal tender in Ghana. There is no justification whatsoever for keeping stacks of dollars because foreign exchange businesses and international payment are regulated under Section 16 and Section 15, which provides that, and I quote, each payment in foreign currency to or from Ghana between resident and non-resident or between non-residents shall be made through a bank. So if you have any payment to make, for which reason Mr. Sammy Gyamfi was holding United States dollars, stacks of dollars in his car or with him, he ought to have made such payment through the bank. And you are not allowed to hold United States or foreign currency for the purpose of doing any business in the country or within the jurisdiction of Ghana. The action of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi authority are calling for the following action or immediate actions. 1. The immediate sanctioning of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi as acting CEO of the Ghana Gold Board. Clearly, it is an affront on the code of conduct. It is against the Foreign Exchange Act. It is against the Currency Act of the country. And even though the Chief of Staff mentioned that ignorance of the law is not an excuse, Mr. Gyamfi is never ignorant of the law. He's a lawyer of repute and understands clearly the action and the consequences of the action. So he ought to take responsibility for it. Secondly, we are calling for a full-scale investigation into the source of the dollar bundle displayed in the viral video. Where did he get the dollar from? Ordinary Ghanaian cannot go to the bank and request, even if you have a dollar account. You must demonstrate transaction. You must demonstrate that you are traveling out of the country in order for them to even allow you access your own dollar. So we need a full-scale investigation into the source of the dollar bundle display in that viral video. 3, we expect an apology from the president to the good people of Ghana for the insult this act represents to those suffering under this suffering economy. Let it not be said that this parliament was silent in the face of such brazenness. We will not look on while public offices will not look on while public office is discredited and the Ghanaian people reduced to beggars in their own country.